What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to look at some job postings on Avalanche software. So this is obviously the developer behind Hogwarts Legacy. A couple different people had messaged me this on Twitter, so I thank any and all of them. I think there were like 3 different people that talked about these job postings. So I thank everybody who sent me this. As always, if you ever do find things that you find interesting or think that could make a good video or you want me to talk about, definitely send them my way either on Twitter or over here, wherever you can reach me. And what's interesting is the names, like literally the titles that you would have if you applied here, but also a thing that has to do with multiplayer. So I'm going to talk about the actual job titles. I want to read also the very bottom of both the applications, which have the very interesting part I would say about it. But really quickly, I'll keep you guys waiting for a second. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. We're pushing very hard for 50,000 subscribers. So if you are not already subscribed, please do. We're getting very, very close, but we need a big push here. And also, speaking of a push to subscribe, if you guys haven't subscribed to my second channel yet, Podcast Now Plus is its name. Link is in the description below. We just reached 3,000 subscribers over there. Very, very proud of that channel as well. All right, so if you go on their list, you can go on, you can literally type in like Avalanche software on Google, go to their career page, go to like see all, if you see all their job postings, and they have quite a few. There's some from March 29th, there's some from April 2nd, and there's 2 from April 15th. And one's the community manager. Remember, we talked about that a few weeks ago. That was one back on April 2nd. The last 2, Advanced Game Systems Software Engineer and Advanced Game AI Software Engineer. Now, these, again, there's not too much you can read about it. What I saw a few people talk about is they do mention, so let's read it. The job. Avalanche, a division of Warner Bros. Games, is seeking an advanced, and they say, and that's the part where they'll just say the title, to join our growing team of talented industry veterans working on our upcoming game, Hogwarts Legacy, a new open-world action RPG set in the Wizarding World. Again, this part, the job, I believe is the same no matter which job you click on. It's the daily and the essentials that's different. And I actually think good to have is, I think that's the same for all of them as well, okay? So a lot of these are like copy and paste. But then it says, this person will work closely with, and again, like this depends on the job, with project engineering, art, and design leads to develop high-quality game features for AAA games for next-generation platforms, okay? And it keeps going. I'll stop there, though, because that's what a lot of people are pointing out. What I find interesting and what people have said is, like, they literally say AAA games for next-gen platforms. So I've seen some people ask me, would Hogwarts Legacy only be on next-gen? I feel like this is just my analysis. This is just my opinion on it. You guys can totally disagree and let me know in the comments what you think. But I think that they don't say it the best way, but I feel like they're hiring these people, I guess most people, for Hogwarts Legacy, but they would keep them on for the future. So when they say like the job, they're basically saying, okay, advanced game AI software engineer, if you go for that position, you'd be working on Hogwarts Legacy. But afterwards, you would be working on AAA games for next-gen platforms. That's how I read it. I could be reading that wrong. It's weird that they put it literally back-to-back, like they're literally in follow-up paragraphs, and they say that. So it's like, okay, well, are they hiring them for their next project, or they're working on 2 games at one time? It's possible. I mean, again, that's something that I wouldn't say likely, but it's definitely a possibility, and then you guys can definitely let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, then, again, it goes to the daily, what you'd be doing on a day-to-day basis, the essentials, which is kind of like what you need in order to get the job. So, those are, I think, relatively similar no matter which position you pick. Good to have. Understanding of Unreal Engine blueprints, understanding of Unreal Engine 4 multiplayer and network protocols, experience with scripting languages such as Python, okay? Now, the second one is the biggest thing. Now, what does it mean? Understanding of the Unreal Engine 4 multiplayer and network protocols. So, they use Unreal Engine, they use Unreal Engine 4. Unreal Engine 4 multiplayer, you can even type that in on Google. It literally is the part of the Unreal Engine program that helps with, that you use to design multiplayer, a multiplayer feature. So that's the thing that stuck out. A couple people sent me this, and I went to it, and I read the entire thing, and when I got to that part, I was like, ooh, that is, in my opinion, the only big thing that stands out. Yeah, the other part that maybe there's 2 games they're working on at once, or again, maybe they're just talking about you work on Hogwarts first, then you can work on a second game. But to me, adding in that they need to good, but yet again it says good to have. You don't need it, but it's good to have an understanding of basically multiplayer systems. You need again, I was about to say you need. It's good to have an understanding that we can make multiplayer aspects in our game. That's pretty much what they're saying. So I don't know if I would want a Hogwarts Legacy game with multiplayer in it from people that aren't experts is a hard term, but like somebody who's like well versed in multiplayer. You know what I mean? When certain games get staffed up for multiplayer, I'll give you a good example. Sucker Punch, makers of Ghost of Tsushima, right? They do have people that are good with multiplayer. They made Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and then I just talked about this on my second channel a few days ago. They're hiring for a new, like a AAA game, but all multiplayer. And so the position is literally someone who makes multiplayer things. You know what I mean? So like that, but yet again, Ghost of Tsushima Legends, like if they made a Legends 2, that is multiplayer. So if you're hiring for that, of course that needs to be your main thing. If you're hiring a software engineer, basically, I mean, I guess you're doing it for Hogwarts Legacy in general, and then it's like, okay, have you ever dabbled in multiplayer? Like, we have a couple aspects of multiplayer. You can work on that too. But you're not like an expert. We didn't hire you for that. But it seems like they didn't hire anybody specifically for that. You know what I mean? It is interesting, though, that when you go on these job postings, a lot of them do have that at the bottom. So, again, I don't know if that means that there'll be multiplayer. It could very well. You could use the same argument I used, in the beginning of the job listing right now, where it's like, well, you could also say, all right, we're hiring you for Hogwarts Legacy. It doesn't have multiplayer, but considering you're going to be with the company afterwards, it's good to have multiplayer because maybe we're going to do multiplayer for the next thing we do, whether it's Hogwarts Legacy 2 or if it's something else. You know what I mean? So you could use the same argument of the weird wording that they used in the beginning at the end, and that would make sense as well. But I do think, to be flat out honest with you, I think this 100% opens up the possibility, like multiplayer could be back on. I've mentioned multiplayer so many times. I know there's people that'll ask me, like, hey, talk about Quidditch, talk about multiplayer. I've done all that. I'll do it again. I'll go back to these topics, but I think over last summer, even like into September, I talked about Quidditch. I talked about Wizard's Chess. I talked about dueling. I talked about, do we need multiplayer? What kind of multiplayer would there be? If it's a good idea, bad. I made like 5, 6, 7 videos on multiplayer. So I've done that before. And again, we'll do that as time goes on again as well. We can revisit certain topics. But like when I said those things, some things I think is possible, like Quidditch is definitely possible. I don't know about multiplayer Quidditch, but I do think Quidditch is possible in this game, like against AI. But you know what? Because for a long time, I kind of shut down the idea in my mind that like multiplayer, most like 99% chance isn't happening. I never would expect it. Even if you told me like, oh, hey, Alex, it's even if they hired somebody for multiplayer like tomorrow, okay, and they made like a big deal of it, like this person is like a multiplayer expert, we're hiring them to work on Hogwarts Legacy, I would still be like, well, are they working on the single player stuff? You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to believe it because I don't want to make myself super expect it and then be let down if it doesn't happen, right? But I think, seeing this now, it definitely, to me, it ups it a little bit. It makes it be like, okay, you know what? There is now a distinct possibility, if not this game. See, if this game doesn't have it, then whatever their next game is, so say they do Hogwarts Legacy and then say they announce Hogwarts Legacy 2 like right after, I am fully believing Hogwarts Legacy 2 has multiplayer. You know what I mean? Because again, like, it's good to have multiplayer experience, basically, but you don't need to. You could use either argument. You could use, okay, well, we're going to use it. We're going to use a little of it in Hogwarts Legacy. You know, we didn't hire you for it, but it's good to have because we have a couple people that are good with it or decent at it, and so we're going to put you all together. Or we're not going to do anything with it. It's good to have it because it's good to have just different things in your arsenal. And then if we make future games and we want to do multiplayer, that would be great. Like, you having that knowledge is fantastic, and that would help the overall project. So, you could use either one. It's definitely an opinionated thing. Obviously, we don't know if anybody wants to go, and I've always said this, right? If anybody wants to go applying for this job, obviously you have to have the qualifications, but if you get hired, don't forget about me, okay? Slip me some DMs or some emails about what's going on there, however you want to do it. But no, I mean, it's very exciting. It's definitely exciting. I'm very thankful to anybody, all of you guys that sent me this job posting, okay? Thank you so much. So, like I said, if you ever see anything like this that you want to send me, me, you can, okay? Twitter's a good place to get to me. Here is a good place to get to me. Like I said, for all the promotional stuff, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. If you want to help my second channel as well grow, make sure you guys are subscribed over there. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.